Let's BIM together AutoCAD tip number 15, Advanced Dynamic Block with Schedulable Elements and a free template for AutoCAD LT. Now in this video, I'm going to show you what I call an Advanced Dynamic Block. And when something like this is built with the workflow in mind that you already currently use, it will eliminate a good chunk of production time. Here, what we're going to look at is how with two different blocks, and this is the advanced one over here, what we call, and this is just a smaller filler block. But with these two blocks, we can create an entire reflected ceiling plan over here. And a schedule is going to output the different quantities of different types of lights that these blocks have. Now it's going to look like this, so let's just plot it out so you can see the final result. So that's how it looks like. We have a bunch of classrooms here. It's like a fake school, right? We have our classrooms. There's an office, professional development, and a lab. And the pattern, basically all the classrooms, they have this kind of cloud hanging down. And here we have our fluorescent 2x4 lights. Here we have some hanging pendants. And that's kind of the formula for the classrooms. Then we have the nook with the casework, where we have this strip light over here. Hallway, just typical. We have some recessed lighting on this side. But then you can see that just from two different blocks, you can create all of this. And the schedule looks pretty clean also. So that's where the lighting schedule shows. Now, when you zoom in on this, to show you, if I select this guy over here, right, this entire room was made with just one block. But then when you go to, for example, we'll go to the office. This is that one, the workhorse that does most of the work. That's this block. But then we're also using filler blocks. You just have to use your judgment. Is it worth creating a block that does too much, or it just takes forever to make? And you can't really use it for all the scenarios. So the rule, people always say the 80-20 rule. You want to make something that covers 80% of your scenarios. And then for the other 20%, you could just do something custom. Now, these blocks, when you look at them over here, right? So let's say we have fluorescent troffer light. That's that 2x4 fluorescent. Right now, we have 147 of them. What's really cool when you set something up like this, let's say all of a sudden we want in all the classrooms, instead of the 2x4 light, we want the 4-foot light strips. All you have to do now, we can just select. We'll skip the office. We'll skip the lab, but we'll do all the classrooms. We could select them all. And then we're going to go down to where it says surface mounted. We're going to change it to a strip light. So now this updated over here. And let's just look at the schedule. This number is still the old number. It's 147. To regenerate, you just enter Command REA. Now you can see this became a 55 and this is 116. So pretty cool. You can do a lot with this. So like, for example, here we have the recessed lighting. If we select that, we can also go to the drop down. You don't have to use the properties. Let's just change this room. We'll change this to surface mounted 2x4s. And then for these recess, let's say we want to do, we'll do a cove light, right? So it's like a light strip. So now it's a little big, so we do have to adjust it. So then we're going to take this grip. Let's just bring it down a little bit. Let's say it's like this. We just have to center it. And then let's say you don't want this centered here for some odd reason. You want it closer to the wall. You could just drag this. And then to make it more even number, we could just go through the properties and find it. So it's going to be a nook lights location. So let's just say we want it 1 foot away from that wall. So I'm just going to do 1 foot. And it did it from the other one. So then I just kind of have to work the math. So then if this is 4 feet, I'm going to change this to 3. And there we have that. So pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, they kind of just save a lot of time. Now what's crazy, again, it all starts out as this. And here you're going to have options. That's the nook that we have here. Take out the nook, so the nook is gone. We can put cove light, that's that light strip. You can also just swap it out and put, instead of that, we can do recessed lighting. And same thing, if you need to add more, you can do something like this, and then now you're going to want to center that. So then you just click here, and now it's centered. Then on top of that, we can here switch out the surface mounted 2x4s to light strips. So there you can see that change. You can also remove the pendant lights. So we have these pendant lights. And then for the pendant lights, you can kind of move them around, rotate them. So you kind of just figure out, okay, well, in this task, we do this type of a building a lot. In this room, we kind of have a formula that we do. So you can kind of create elements that modify themselves, that cover most of your scenarios. And then obviously this guy stretches out here. And then you could place, if you want to use like a cloud, you could stretch these, you can locate the cloud, and then you could place your lights on the cloud. So now I have my lights here. So pretty cool. And like I said, just with this block over here and then a basic filler. So this filler is just meant to cover the scenarios that this guy can't, or it would just be too much work to do it here. So then this is a 2-foot grid. We could change it to a 4-foot grid just to make it so you can quickly read it. But yeah, just those few blocks, we can cover all these scenarios where I have the nook over here, just an office with centered lights, and then something that has like a soffit on one side. So I can demonstrate how quickly this is. Say I'm going to delete this guy over here. Delete. We'll delete this block. Now here I also used 4 fillers, and I'm just deleting them one at a time to kind of show you how these rooms were built. And then we'll click this guy here, and we have a filler. So then let's say we want to set one up really quick. We'll go to our schedule. Say these rooms for now, they're not in scope of work. We could do REA. Here's our updated counts. Right now we have the 2x4 lights. We have 43 of them. And then the light strips currently. So we have 80 of these. Right click this. We're going to click reset block. Then we're going to place it in a room. So we're just going to select it. Put that here. We'll move this one over. We had it kind of rotated. I was just thinking maybe there's a teacher's desk and the pendants are rotated. We'll put another set of lights. Let's say there's like a whiteboard on this side of the wall. And then let's place the cloud in place. So then we could do start at a corner to be exact. And then we could select here, press F8 to do ortho. And let's say we want it up 12 inches. Just do that. We'll click this, 12 inches this way. So now it's 1 foot away from here. And then we're just going to stretch our cloud. Then we're going to use these grips, and these grips is what's going to array our lights across them. And then if you really want, could try to center it on this. Change my mind a little bit. So let's take this guy. I'm going to bring him back over here. We're going to go this way 12 inches. I want to split the difference here. So what I'll do is I'll just draw a quick line. And then we'll take half of that line. Just drop the grips. And then if you want the classroom text, just change the draw order. So pretty quick, right? And It's pretty much complete. Just have to delete this line over here. Then let's say you're doing this office, right? You could start off again with the same exact one. Let's just reset it again. For this one, we're going to do no pendants, so take out the pendants. And let's just drop this into here. Sometimes it glitches out, and I'll show later a couple other tricks I use for it. Then we're going to select block. So then let's stretch this as far as we can go. We obviously don't want to go past this point. So now here, it would be a very, obviously we could split the difference if let's say you do something like this, but in real life construction, you're not going to want to have a small strip here, so there's probably a more clever way to do this. So I'll probably bring this down to here, and then we'll just split the difference the other way. But let's go this way first. And again, same scenario. You don't want to center this point here. So I'm going to actually take it back up to here. And now we have our area that we want to split the difference. So then here, all you do, draw a line this way. And then draw another line here. Once we have that, the last step is we want to select this thing and just let it array over our entire distance. The last thing, we do have the filler space here, so we just want to fill it in with something. So let's go grab our filler. Let's reset it. I usually like to do that. And then you're just going to place it here. Gotta rotate it. Now this is a 2-foot grid, so that's not going to work on this side. Change it to 4 feet. Perfect. Over. It's through, so we just have to move it over. Let's do that. And the last step is to just copy it down. So we have these two. Now we can see, let's say this room is not in the scope of work, right? Really quickly, go to here. In this one, what do we have? We have our 2x4 lights and we have the pendant lights. So we're going to look at the pendants. We have 36. The fluorescent troffers, 43. So we're going to do REA, enter. Now it's 67 and 42. Do reset. We'll keep the pendants here just for fun, so I'll just move them over to the side. Actually, this one, I don't think I had him in. Yeah, I had him in this one. So I'll take him out. So then no pendants. And then we just want to bring this into the corner of our things. Now again, lines show up here, but as soon as you click one grip, they'll go away. And this one actually kind of just worked out. So then let's say from here on, we're going to want that soffit, a different, not an ACT grid, acoustic ceiling tile. So let's do we'll say it's a nook, and we're going to put recessed lights here. So our nook showed up here. We just have to put it to where it should be. Let's say it goes up. That's where it's going to be. We'll bring this down. And this is just a simple, just follow the rest of the grips. Now, again, there are some quirks with it. It's just I made it intentionally that way. But for example, you can't stretch this past that point because I wouldn't want my soffit expanding out. If I wanted to, it's an easy change. But then I'm going to click here. And then to array the lights, we're going to use this handle. So let's say if it's here, we could center this, but then maybe I don't want one this close to the wall, so I'll skip this one. We'll do up to here. And then I'll just see if we could drag it just a tiny bit. Oh, there you go. I had a snap that wasn't letting me. So then here, let's say we want it centered on this nook, right? The nook is going to have a center endpoint. This grabs the center of the light. Turn on your snap, center it here. And this already looks centered, but let's find out. Nope, it's almost centered. So then once I click this handle here, click the center point here, it's going to center the lights for me. And then really quick, we can look at our recessed down lights. We had 20 before. Now we have 31. And the last thing to do here is going to be to array our lights. So in this case, let's just do this first. And we probably don't want to start them right at the corner, so we'll move them to here. And then now we just got to bring them back a little bit. If you want to bring the text back, all you do is just use the drf command. And then let's just check out our counts. Let's do RDA. And we could see an update here. Now, these blocks, like I said, you want to typically shoot for cover 80% of your scenarios. However, let's say, for the other 20, you could always explode this block. So for example, let's just stick with the fluorescent troffers. We have 83 of them. If I explode this, I do lose the capability to modify it as easily as I do with these guys, where I have all these options. And it basically creates dummy geometry. However, the lights are going to be still blocked, so when you select it, you could still change it to a different type of a light. And then you would do this, for example, if you need to do something slightly different. Maybe, let's say we want to stagger these all of a sudden. Right, if you wanted to do something like this, let's say we grab these and then let's go to our lighting schedule. This says 3 REA 87. When you build blocks like this, I also want to just go over, let's say we go to block editor. You want to be very organized with your naming. You want to be very organized because you will never be able to edit this. For example, this block has something like 22 user grips, 17 user properties, probably over 20 parameters and actions. So you want to be able to know it's like, oh, this action here is going to rotate pendants number 2. things like that. This action over here is going to move the cloud, and then the cloud, here's the parameter for it. You kind of just want to, be very consistent with your naming logic, and you can use this block as an example to move forward with it. Something like this, I do it just because once you have to edit it again, a lot of times they're uneditable if people went too overboard and did not think this through over here. I included this block with my CAD Base Drawing template, which you could find if you go to letsbintogether.com. Click the GitHub icon, then CAD Base Drawing template. And you can download the template over here. This template, it's a good starting point, base drawing template for AutoCAD LT. You can obviously use it for any other AutoCAD version. AutoCAD LT just doesn't really come with anything. That's why I figured might as well make one for it. Here, you're going to also find some notes. So I used the Autodesk's AIA standard CTB file. That's for your pen weights when you plot. The layers that I included with this template for now, they're just architecture layers. However, if you need different layers for, let's say, mechanical, interiors, plumbing, etc., I included scripts that generate those layers for you. You can find them here. And this is the layer guidelines I used from Duke University. So it's just a PDF for layer naming. You can read about it here. It shows how it looks when you print it. For the template itself, there is going to be legends for everything it uses. It was started with a blank CAD file, and then every single element that was created, including layers, there's going to be a legend. Quickly match properties to it. So for example, I drew this line over here. Let's say I want it on the door layer. I can just do match properties, select my door text over there. Now this line is going to be on the door layer. Same thing, I do the same thing with leaders, dimension styles. Here are all the text styles, all the line types. And then this one, there's another YouTube video I made before, you can look it up, but this here kind of shows you what each color, the thickness of the pen weight it's going to be. There's some basic dynamic blocks, including this one over here. That's the one I demonstrate in this video. And it shows kind of how the same block, it can create this element, this guy, or this one. Regarding why I said it's a good starting point, so if you go to, let's say, rename, naming is key for anything you're going to scale. So this is just going to give you a nice foundation if you want to build off of it. You want things to cluster next to each other, and you do not want anything that you're not aware of to exist in your template. So for example, these are all the dimension styles I have, right? We have all of our layers, line types. You kind of want to keep everything nice and clean. I hope you guys find this useful. Feel free to go to letsbintogether.com, download the template, provide me feedback, and hope to see you on the next AutoCAD tip.